She was just my sister's friend, older, recently divorced, and teary-eyed over a photograph. I walked in, thinking I was only there to help her move some boxes. But I never left. That night changed everything. One cup of coffee turned into something I never expected. Ethan Carter wasn't exactly excited about spending his Saturday hauling boxes. He had just wrapped up 5 straight 12-hour shifts, and his idea of a weekend well spent involved pizza, a cold beer, and zoning out to Parks and Recreation reruns. But when his older sister Julie called and said, "Hey, Rachel could use some help moving in," he didn't refuse. Not just because it was Julie, but because it was Rachel. Rachel Monroe. 36. Smart. Gorgeous. Witty in that fast-talking way that made you lean in just to keep up. She'd been Julie's best friend since forever, and to Ethan she'd always been Rachel, the grown-up girl who once gave him extra cookies and teased him about his baby face when he was still in high school. But now, 10 years later, Ethan wasn't a scrawny teenager anymore. He was 27, tall, strong from years of construction work, and if he was honest, maybe just a little curious to see what Rachel looked like now when he pulled into the driveway of her new rental, a cozy 2-bedroom bungalow with flower boxes and peeling paint. The moving truck was already half unloaded. Rachel was sitting on the porch step, hair tied up in a loose bun, sunglasses perched on her head, sipping iced coffee and looking overwhelmed. She looked up when he slammed his truck door shut, her face lit up. "Ethan Carter, wow, you're actually on time." "Hey, I'm always on time when someone bribes me with the promise of free pizza," he said, walking up the steps. She stood brushing dust from her shorts. She was wearing a soft gray t-shirt and denim cut-offs, and even with the stress in her eyes, there was a grace about her that hit him square in the chest. "You came for pizza, huh?" she smirked. "Not because your sister told you I was drowning in boxes." "That too," he said with a shrug, then offered a half grin. "But mostly pizza." Rachel laughed, and it was the first time she had all day. The next few hours were a blur of sweating, lifting, and strategically avoiding small talk about her ex-husband. Ethan could tell the divorce was recent. It hung around her like smoke in the way she moved carefully through rooms, unsure what should go where. He didn't push, he just moved boxes, cracked jokes, and let the silence settle naturally when it needed to. At one point, she handed him a heavy box labeled Memories with shaking hands. "You okay?" he asked, not prying, just soft. Rachel blinked hard and nodded. "Yeah, just didn't expect to feel so weird seeing my life in boxes." "Yeah," Ethan said, "breakups are like that." She looked at him, surprised. "You say that like you know I've had a few crash and burns," he said with a grin. "One girl dumped me because I put pineapple on pizza. Apparently that was a character flaw." Rachel laughed again, the real kind this time, and some of the tension in her shoulders eased. It was nearly sundown when they got the last of the boxes inside. Ethan wiped his forehead with the bottom of his shirt, revealing a strip of toned stomach. Rachel noticed and immediately looked away, cheeks flushed. "Beer?" she asked, opening the fridge. "Thought you'd never ask." They settled on the back porch with 2 cold beers, watching the sky turn purple behind the trees. A comfortable silence fell over them, interrupted only by the soft chirp of crickets and the occasional passing car. "You didn't have to stay this long," Rachel said after a while. "I didn't mind," Ethan replied. "You needed help. Still, you probably had better things to do." "I didn't," he said honestly. "Not today." She looked at him, then really looked at the man he'd become. He wasn't just Julie's kid brother anymore. He was grounded, kind, and if she admitted it, far Too good looking for her peace of mind. Rachel exhaled. It's weird being back. Here 10 years away and nothing feels the same except this porch, Ethan said. Still cacks in the same spot, she smiled. Grateful for the grounding I keep. Waiting for it to hit me, she said, that I really left him, that I'm really on my own. You're not on your own, Ethan said. His voice quiet. You've got people who care. Rachel looked down at her bottle. Then said softly, you know, back when I was married, I always thought if I ever left I'd feel free, like the hard part would be over. And it's not, Ethan asked. No, she said, now it's just quiet. He nodded. Sometimes the quiet is the worst part. They sat like that a while longer, the sun dipping below the horizon. Then Rachel stood brushing imaginary dust off her knees. I should start unpacking some of those boxes. Ethan stood too. You want help? Rachel hesitated, then shook her head. No, but stay a while, just a little longer. Ethan looked at her. The porch light cast her in gold, softening the grief in her face. He nodded. Yeah, he said. I'll stay. Ethan returned to Rachel's place the next afternoon, toolbox in hand. Even though no one had asked him to bring it, the screen door creaked as he stepped